Hey, welcome back to Legacy Builders. Today I want to share with you the story plus the lessons of what I learned after generating over $1 million in revenue from a small 3-day event with only 239 people in the room. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the key ingredients to success of how we were able to pull that off so that you can do that for yourself if you'd like. Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Legacy Builders. I'm excited for today's episode, Bryan, because over the years, you've had some wild successes in your career and you've learned a ton along the way about so many different things. Mm-hmm. In one instance that you were telling me about that I want to dive into today is how you generated 7 figures from one 3-day event. And I know most people dream of making 7 figures in a year when they start their business. Mm-hmm. Much less in 3 days. So tell me about this 3-day event and how it happened.
Yeah, thanks, Seth. And welcome back, guys. And I always say that making your first million is the hardest thing that you'll ever do. And then it becomes easier, right? Like you've heard this before, probably, right? Like your first million is hard and then the second million is a lot easier. And it's true, right? Like at one point in my career, making $1 million in a year was very challenging, right? I just couldn't figure it out. It was mind numbing. It was just really brutal. And then eventually it was like, okay, 10 million is hard in a year. And then $1 million was hard in a month. And then $1 million was hard in a week. And then $1 million was hard in a day. In this case, it was from one 3-day event. So I'll tell you a little bit about the backstory of how we got there and then share with you some lessons that I learned, going through the process. The intention behind it wasn't to make $1 million from one event. That wasn't the actual intention going in, but it was the outcome that we were experiencing. Okay. And success leaves clues, right? So, it was back when several years ago, and Russell told me about a program that he was launching with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. And so Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi partnered up to launch a new program. And it was all about helping experts, bring their expertise online. And so Russell began to tell me the story about how he bought that domain for $600,000 and gave it to Tony and Dean as a gift because of how much value they've given him over his career and how much Tony has poured into him. And so it was really a gift, which is quite generous, clearly. And talk about earning the right. I mean, I talk about this all the time, right? It's like you earn the right to make an offer. Well, Russell lived that, right? He bought the domain on his dime and he gave it to those guys. And, looking back, it was probably the best investment he made because, that's been worth over probably $5 to $10 million in the last couple of years by being a partner with Tony and with Dean. So when I found out about this, being the affiliate mind that I am, right? I started back in 2006 as an affiliate marketer selling other people's stuff. And so I said, you know what? I wonder if there's any domain names around it. And now at the time, Russell was telling me because I'm a top super affiliate for Russell. I've driven thousands and thousands of paid customers his way over the years, especially around ClickFunnels. And so he's like, I'm doing this thing. We're going to have an affiliate program. I think you would be a great fit. I think your audience would love what we're doing. I said, cool. So I was sitting there and I researched and I looked up some domain names that I could use to support Tony and Dean. And lo and behold, mastermindbonus.com was available. So Russell bought mastermind.com for $600,000. I was able to buy mastermindbonus.com, which I still own to this day, for less than $10. It was absolutely awesome. And what happened next was I actually sat on it for months. I was like, I'm not sure if I want to do this. Like, this is not my business model. My business model is serving clients and partners where we, launch their expertise online and scale their impact through advertising on different channels, like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all different types of platforms. So that's my core business. My core business is my agency. So to stop the agency or to pivot my attention over here to promoting some other thing as an affiliate was outside the scope of my business. And at the time I was super busy, as we are always, right? Just really busy doing our own thing. And so to do this was really something that was outside the norm, right? like with ClickFunnels, I promote that. It makes sense. People who we help, they use that as a tool. Whereas with this, it was Tony and Dean were launching a new course, new information for the marketplace as a whole, right? So it was really out of the norm. I sat on it, and then the moment I decided to promote it, what happened was they sent me a welcome kit. They're called swag boxes or Dream 100 kits. And so the whole concept is you make a list of your top 100 affiliate partners. It could be 200, 300, 400, 500, however many, but you make a list of everyone that you know or anyone that's in the market who has your ideal customers. And then you make them a part of your what's called a Dream 100 kit, where you send them a box and it tells them all about the upcoming launch and how they can get paid and how they can get involved and how they can, the prizes that they can win. So Tony and Dean, they sent me this box and it came in the mail. Now, simultaneously, I had scheduled a call with a guy who has now become a friend, but at the time he was just some random dude that I didn't know. He had dated one of my friends, and I only knew him because of my friend who's like, hey, you need to meet Brad. You need to help him. I'm like, okay. So I scheduled a call with Brad. Brad and I had like a 60-minute strategy session when I was doing 60-minute strategy sessions at the time. This was years ago. And I remember he was just like, he was agitated. He was frustrated. He was like kind of annoying, to be quite frank with you. And he had told me in that conversation that he was promoting Tony and Dean's program. So the combination of I just got this box in the mail that week, and I also had Brad who was like, hey, I'm going to promote this Tony thing. What would be your advice? So I started thinking about it. And I don't know what it was, but it just like kind of like my competitiveness, kind of was stimulated within me. And I felt like I probably should promote this too. So I felt compelled. Let's put it that way. I felt compelled. Like maybe I should do this. Maybe I should promote this. I have a database of over 100,000 people. I have an audience online. Like I can promote this. I can make some sales. Shoot. There's prizes like being able to go to Fiji and spend a week with Tony and have him, put his brain on your business. I was like, maybe I should think about doing this. So my wife and I, we went out to dinner at True Food Kitchen in San Diego. And we sat down and I said, hey, Steph, I said, I have an idea. I want to promote this. We'll spend some money on Facebook ads, Instagram ads, that type of thing. Remarketing. We'll spend some money and we'll help promote Tony. I already have the great domain name, mastermindbonus.com. And we'll just see how it goes. And so being the legal mind that she has a degree in marketing and practically a minor in law. She asked me all types of really valuable questions around the topic of promoting them. And really she was doing like a benefit analysis on, does this make sense? And at the end of the dinner, she decided, yeah, this does make sense. Okay, let's spend $50K and throw it at them. We'll at least make our investment back. And maybe we'll get a seat at the table to be able to go hang out in Fiji with Tony, with Dean, with Russell, and with the top 10 affiliates, right? So what we did was over that weekend, this was a Friday night, we went out to dinner. That weekend, I created the copy and the script for the videos that I was filming on Monday. Mind you, the program was beginning, like the launch was starting that next week. So I had a really tight window. This was not like I could plan for, 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. I had days. So I spent Saturday and Sunday creating the opt-in page, the jump page, if you will. We call it jump pages, review pages. So I created a bonus page on mastermindbonus.com where I got people to opt in to be on a wait list. And then I sent them over to a thank you page where it explained all the bonuses that they got when they bought through me for free, right? And one of the things that we did was we gave everyone who bought through us a Apple Watch or AirPods and a ticket to a 3-day mastermind experience or an event in San Diego. And the idea was we wanted to show people what a mastermind was like. Right? What an event was like being produced at a high level. And we spared no expense. Okay. We put 150 grand into a 3-day event that was absolutely masterful. And we had the funds to do it because we promoted them so well that we ended up getting into the top 10. Spent a lot more than 50 grand myself. Personally, I spent like 115 or 120 grand on their promotion, but it was doing so well, it made sense, right? When something makes sense, when something's winning, when something's working, what do? You scale it, right? That's what happened for these guys. And what happened because we promoted them so well is we invited everyone to come to this 3-day event where we could add even more value. We could showcase our expertise and we can create massive breakthrough and then get them connected with one another. And because of that, we had 239 people that ended up showing up. So we had 239 people. We literally had over 500 people that bought Tony and Dean's course through us. That's how we got into the top 5 spot on the biggest launch in history for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. He's still, in terms of revenue, it's still the biggest launch in internet history that they've ever done. And so we had over 500 buyers, 239 people showed up. People actually flew in from Germany to attend our event, which was awesome. And they didn't pay a dime for it. Okay. So imagine for a moment you were to buy Tony Robbins' product or Dean's product or Russell's product. And on top of that, you got all of these other amazing bonuses for free. Well, that's what we did. And we gave them so much value. Like it was such an irresistible offer that we had people emailing us, hitting us up saying, I don't really want their thing, but I want your thing. So I'm just going to buy it so I can get access to your stuff. It's like, oh, awesome. That's how you know you have a good offer, right? Now, as a result of 239 people showing up and the experience that we created with different speakers and how we coordinated the whole event, which was we had to mastermind that whole experience, which is a whole nother conversation that I could talk about for hours about what we put when and where, right? We had 69 people out of that group. So pretty significant, right? 69 people out of 239 people said, hey, yes, I want to join your mastermind. I want to join your $25,000 mastermind. Okay. So you know anything about events, if you know anything about statistics, you'll know that that's a good number. Now, on top of that, we had about a handful of people that said, hey, I'd like to take you up on your 100K program, which is what we call our profit partnership. And at the event, I introduced that high ticket program, which is 100K plus percentage of profit, by literally asking one question. Okay. And now for those of you that are listening to this, that do events, this is called a price anchor. Okay. It's where you have a high priced product that's significantly higher than what you're trying to really move people into. Okay. It's called a price anchor. So this price anchor, for example, was 100 grand plus 10% of profit. So I said, I introduced it and I said, how many of you guys would like if we did what we did for Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and Russell Brunson by generating over $1 million for them in a 2-week period of time? How many of you guys would raise your hand? The whole room raised their hand. It was absolutely awesome. Okay, everyone raised their hand and everyone was like, yeah, I want that. I said, cool. It's 100 grand. You got to be able to easily write a check. Okay, if it's uncomfortable for you to cut a check for 100 grand, then this isn't for you. And you got to have a product that we can support like Tony and Dean. We could get behind their product because we believe in them and we believe in their information, their wisdom, their expertise. So if you have the funds to do it, to cut the check, and you have the product or service that we can really get behind and promote, then we'd love to help you. Okay. It's by application only. If that's something you're interested in, come see us, fill out an application. We'll schedule a call and see if we're a good fit for one another. Now for everybody else, and then I moved everybody else into the mastermind, okay, which is really the core goal of that event was to introduce our mastermind, which we did for the first time. And we enrolled, again, 69 people raised their hands and applied, put $500 deposit down to be in that mastermind. Now, not everybody qualified. Not everybody was a good fit. I think what's important when you're running, higher ticket programs like masterminds and stuff of that nature is that you have to do a good job at deciding who is a good fit because one bad apple can spoil the bunch. So we had, some bad apples we had to, not allow in the program because it would have, contaminated the culture of the group. Right. And that's really important to learn that lesson before you're in this situation. Okay. So you want to be mindful. If you have a $25,000 program like a mastermind or a coaching group where everybody interacts with one another, you want to make sure that you have the right people at the table. Otherwise, the wrong people could really spoil the batch. And then all of a sudden you've got, negative energy in your group. And that's no fun. no fun. Okay. Sometimes you don't know until you get into that situation though. There's always that case where, everyone, the person might, everything looks good on paper, everything sounds right. And then, come 6 months down the road, they're in it and you realize they're not the right fit. Right. That's part of it, doing business. You have to figure that out for yourself. Okay. So think about it. We promoted Tony and Dean, had the opportunity to go hang out with them in Fiji for a week, which was absolutely incredible and a phenomenal experience that I'll remember forever. Had the ability to get Tony's brain on our business. And on top of that, all the affiliate commissions from promoting them paid for the event itself, right? So the $150,000 event, we're coming in and it's break even already. So we didn't have to make a dime, right? And I think that's important to say, because a lot of people, they do events and they throw all this investment into making the event epic, right? And, it's going to be, if you're doing a big event with 300, 400, 500 people, you're going to be, if you're going to do it right, it's going to be a 6-figure investment. Okay. Because of all that's involved with the hotel, all this, the logistics. There's a lot of different logistics that you need to be considering. Your AV, in our case, we had an MC. So I think, hindsight is 2020, right? It was absolutely, I thank Russell for telling me about the opportunity. But at the end of the day, because we decided to go all in and support those guys and really serve them by helping them support their launch, we were able to reap the harvest of that by enrolling more than 69 people into our $25,000 mastermind, generating over $1 million in revenue in just a few days.
Right. I think it's incredible because a lot of people would have been okay and super stoked to just get the affiliate commissions from the mastermind. But then you took that and you were like, no, this is an opportunity to onboard new clients, get more people into our tribe. And so you went even beyond that to then, generate, let's say $1 million from that 3-day event. But I'm sure some of those clients you're still working with. Some of those people are still, so, you're still getting revenue from
Correct.
that. But I'm sure that those 239 people, it sounds like they didn't just show up to a ballroom at the Holiday Inn and then you ask them if they want to pay you $25,000. Like, what are some of the things that you did as a part of the event to make sure that those people had an incredible experience so that they really believed that, okay, Bryan's taking care of us here. He'll take care of us if we hire him as a client.
So that was one thing that I wanted to be really mindful of, is putting on an epic experience. And so we, out of the gate, the experience of the brand and the experience of the event was thought through on every little detail. Now, it helped that we have experience doing events, right? So people on our team have been doing events for more than a decade at a really high level. My branding guy who did all the designs and aesthetics has done 38 of the top Fortune 100 companies in the world from branding in some way, shape, or form, and big events with thousands, over 10,000 people. So we knew we had the right people at the team, right, or on the team, to be able to pull off a really epic event, an experience of an event. And that was super important. Going into it, we branded the event, which we called Legacy Builders Live. We branded the event at a higher level than any events in the marketplace. And that was a question when we went through the branding experience was, what are the current leading brands in the market? And what is their identity? What do they look like? What is their look and feel? And then we said, okay, let's make it better. Let's take it a step beyond that. Right. And that's always an important question. It's like, how are you different, better, and unique than other people in your marketplace? Right. Like, that's a question you need to ask yourself, and you need to be able to answer really easily and quickly. What makes you better, different, unique than anyone else? So for us, I would say the secrets to being able to pull off $1 million plus event in 3 days was having the right people in the room, and then really truly adding value and serving them on a deeper level. So one of the things that we did is everybody who came in, that's where they were able to redeem their iPads or their Apple Watches, their AirPods. So imagine coming in and you get an Apple Watch or you get AirPods. What event have you been to that's free, where you're walking in and in your welcome bag, with your name badge, you're getting an Apple Watch, right? Unheard of, right? So we led with reciprocity. We led by giving. And I can tell you that was massive. The amount of generosity that we gave and we showed was received back. People were giving us hugs and high fives, and people were so grateful that we were supporting them in this way that they've never been supported before. So I think that's a key to the success of that event was we led by serving first and adding massive value by giving first, right? And that applies to everything you do, the content you give, the experiences that you create. And in this example, it paid in spades by choosing to do this. Now, it was an expense, yes, but the affiliate commissions from Tony and Dean paid for that expense. So it really wasn't an expense if you think about it, right? Now, if we didn't have the affiliate commissions from Tony and Dean, then it would have just been an out-of-pocket expense that wouldn't have made sense. But because we had the affiliate commissions from them, we were able to reinvest back into those people and give them a surprise, give them something they weren't expecting. So we did that. We gave them the Apple Watch or the AirPods, whatever they chose. We also hired an MC. So we had an MC that was really great on the mic, could really make people laugh. Like, I'm not MC. Like, that's not my role. That's not my gig. It's not my strength. That's a certain type of personality that's used to doing that. So we brought him in. We paid him $25,000 and he emceed the event. He carried the conversation. Okay. So if you're doing your own events, I would recommend getting an MC. Plus, from a position perspective, it's far better if someone else is introducing you. You're not introducing yourself, right? So for me, I brought in one of our partners who's really, really outgoing, really well-spoken, interacts with people every single day, hundreds of people a week. And so he's used to like really carrying a conversation, getting people fired up, excited, laughing. That's the type of person you want in your MC role. I'm more of a strategic mind, come in and drop fire and give real strategic advice, right? So you got to know your strengths, right? My strength is not an MC role. So it made sense to hire that person, right? I would say that was a huge part of the overall experience because you got to think about it from the user's perspective, right? What's the experience of your events? What's the experience of your masterminds? What's the experience of your workshops? What's the experience like, right? And you got to think through that experience before you produce the experience. You got to think through the experience. So we thought through the experience and then we made the experience awesome. And so that was, I would say, part of the keys to the success. I would say another one would be we actually had clients in the room that had done, started from nothing and did 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, and even 8-figure clients. So we had clients that were there that flew in from around the country that we helped to launch online and had done over $10 million in revenue. So we had people who were able to tell their stories authentically about their journey. Now, we coached them through that process. We didn't just let them get up on stage and talk, right? Which is what most people do. We also made sure that there was what's called a through line of the event, right? Where there's a strategic narrative that's being played out that supports people moving forward to get support on a deeper level. In our case, in this situation, it happened to be a mastermind, right? So all the speakers, part of their narrative, part of their dialogue, part of their conversation, part of what they were sharing always tied into having mentors and being a part of masterminds. So that by the end of the event, the natural conclusion of the people in the room was, I need to have a mentor or mentors, and I need to be a part of masterminds with other people who are in the game, right? So it's a natural conclusion that I need to join a mastermind at the end of that experience. I'm more of the mindset of logical selling and helping people to come to the conclusion themselves through their own realizations than having something be pushy, pressure-based, and emotional. In fact, I'm the complete opposite of that. So, because I think when people make a decision to buy something that's high ticket, like 25,000, 100,000, something of that nature, that the decision needs to be made on a logical basis, not an emotional basis. And a lot of events, I'm sure you've been to some, right, yourself, where you go and it's like a pitch fest, and then it's overly dramatically emotional. And you feel like you got to make the decision now or you're going to lose. And that's not the way we conducted our event at all. Not at all. In fact, that's why we got so many people on video sharing their experience, because they had such an experience that was so different than one that they're used to. Because most free events are really either they're pitch fests with lots of speakers, because the host is trying to make up the expense of the event and profit. So it's either a pitch fest or it's a pressure fest where you're pressured into buying something. And those things to me are just, they're, disgusting, really. Okay. So I think all of these things went into how we're able to have success. We also had a yacht, a 65-foot, 70-foot yacht for everyone who applied for the mastermind at the end. And so we built up to that. What else did we do? We had great speakers. So we brought in different speakers, all different types of backgrounds, men, women, all different types of backgrounds and from different parts of the country that could speak on different topics, from mindset to tactics to strategies, right? So we had an array of speakers, again, that were all supporting this narrative of masterminds and mentors. Because in my experience, masterminds and mentors have helped me go to the next level, right? So they all supported that narrative. And then I think this is another huge takeaway from that 3-day event, was I taught on how to create irresistible offers, because that's what I do all the time. Like with my clients and my partners, I create winning offers that when they present them, they sell them. And so what I did was, day one, I presented an irresistible offer that was one of our offers that we were going to offer them the next day. Now, the magic of doing it this way was that I was able to showcase an offer or demonstrate an offer, but not make it in real time. And the key ingredient there was I didn't say the word you. I said the word they, or our members, right? So when I presented this offer, they didn't feel like they're being sold, but rather they were observing and taking notes and really paying attention to the offer structure and the value of each element of the offer. So that then by the time they got to the end of that offer, there was no call to action of run to the back of the room or sign up for this form. No, there was none of that. Actually, we went up throughout the next series of speakers and topics, and they went home, had dinner, went home, or went to the hotel room, slept. And then the next day, we then presented the offer for them to join the mastermind. Right? And so I would say those are some of the things that really made the event magical, but it was all strategically architected. It wasn't just, we didn't just throw mud up against the wall. That's for sure. We took all the experience of producing events for our clients and for ourselves over the last decade plus. And then we architected an experience that supported people to move forward into a mastermind. And that's how we were able to do over $1 million in 3 days.
I love the mindset of multiplication. And I think when it comes to legacy and being a legacy builder, you have to think about how can we use how can we steward what we have? How can we steward this community, these resources? And again, I think a lot of people would have been super stoked to be top 5 on Tony and Dean's affiliate list to get to go to Fiji. But I love that you looked at it as from a mindset of, okay, we have this community. How can we take, not just this affiliate commission and settle with that, but how can we multiply it into something that impacts more people? So I love that mindset. As we bring this episode to a close, what would be just some of your encouragement to our audience that they're thinking about maybe doing events, maybe events are a part of their business? What would 1 or 2 things that you would encourage them to be thinking about as they head into their next events for their business?
So I would think about the experience of your event. What is the experience, and at what level are you willing to play the game, right? You don't have to spend $1 million to throw an event, but what is the experience of your event from the moment that they step in the hotel to the moment that they leave and go home or go to the airport to fly out. That experience is something that you'll architect, or you'll architect with the help of others. If you need help architecting your event, let me know. We'd love to help you with that. That's something that we do all the time for our clients and partners that we love and serve. But think through that experience. And then I want you to also think through the narrative of where you want them to go next. And how does all of the conversations that are at that event, how does it support them going to that next level? One of the things that we had was one of the speakers wasn't mindful of the narrative. Now, we were able to course correct it, but I think it's important that every speaker you bring in, you have a conversation with them and you let them know this is important topic to hit on. I want you to touch on this or that, right? So really at the end of the day, it boils down to, what is the experience of that event you're hosting? And then how does every speaker strengthen where you want them to go next? Because most people are not doing events for just doing events and fulfilling an offer. You're doing an event typically so that you can then make an offer for people to go deeper, whether it's coaching or workshops or boot camps or mentorship or services or something deeper where you can support them on a higher level. Okay, that's the majority, right? So if you're doing an event like that, you've got to think through all of this stuff and you got to be strategic. And my best advice is hire a team to help you, because there is a lot of moving pieces. And if you try to do all this all yourself without having the right strategic mentorship and advice, you're not going to do as well as you could. And it's worth making the investment to do it, to invest in the planning of it, because there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of strategic things that happen behind the scenes. And there's a lot of different people that need to be involved in order to produce an event that does, over 7 figures in a short period of time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's great advice. And again, anybody who's interested, reach out to our team. We'd be happy to help with that. So, Bryan, this has been great. For our listeners, make sure you listen to some of the other episodes of Legacy Builders where we dive in deeper to some of the stories that Bryan touched on, but also really continue diving into how can you produce, whether it's a 7-figure event or a 7-figure funnel, to then help you build a legacy. So this has been great. Thanks so much, Bryan.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me on Legacy Builders. And I would encourage you to come back to the next episode next week to get more clarity on your journey to launch your expertise online, scale your impact, and build your legacy. If you're ready to get the process started of launching your expertise online the right way, then I recommend go to launchexpertise.com, or maybe you're at a place where you're ready to really scale your expertise and your impact. Go to launchexpertise.com. There you'll have several options. Number one, you can get a free copy of my brand new book, The Entrepreneur Evangelist, which I share the secrets that have unlocked more than $300 million of results for my clients and partners in our own campaigns. You could also join a 33 days of coaching with me that's free, where I give you insights and wisdom on your journey to launching your expertise and scaling your impact over the course of 33 days. And that's worth at least $5,000, but for right now, you can get it for free. And lastly, if you're someone who wants to take the absolute faster, smarter path when it comes to launching your expertise online and scaling your impact, I'd recommend scheduling a call with my team where we can see how we can support you to crush goals and generate 7 or 8 figures yourself in a short period of time. We have more awards than nearly anyone in the entire community, and for good reason. And we would love to help you just like we've helped them. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Legacy Builders.